associating first?
Well, originally I had planned on opening up by myself right away out of school. Absolutely, that was without a doubt that's what I was going to do because I didn't see any associate potential with a pure stock, just like the peak situation was limited. So when the opportunity arose and Dr. Cooper presented to me as associating, it was a very unique opportunity. So it's just not like old doc. So that's what swayed me, and which was a very big decision for me to go from independence to associating. So obviously, I believe it was a good decision. I'm learning a lot, like tremendous amount of skill just in business. In adjusting, I'm going to have him in a couple weeks here when I'm adjusting full time. I'm going to have him to help me with anything clinically if I have questions, things like that. There's a lot of stability. I'm not relying like if I have a bad week. Personally, the office doesn't have a bad week. It's not it as dependent on me. So there is a little bit of cushion there when you're learning new things. There's a little bit more room for error, I guess you could say. Uh, but on the other hand, I think it's like really important to go out on your own eventually, or I guess if you partner up with as an associate position, just doubling in size, obviously, just making an impact in chiropractic, and I commend anyone who goes out there right away. I think they can do it. You got the tools and things you need to do it right on your own. So
That's cool, man.
it's really a personal decision and opportunity decision because there's just not a lot of peers opportunities in terms of associating, but
Right.
uh, yeah. So
All right, that's good stuff. Roland, keep on going. It says, how well do you feel school prepared you for practice?
I mean, not at all, but it's school got me the ticket to the game. You know what I mean? And then now I'm playing the game, and you learn something totally new. So it's literally there's nothing the same. Sometimes I think like, oh, like I have all this book knowledge, and I'm thinking about red flags and stuff when I'm doing the history and stuff, but honestly, there's nothing in school that can prepare you practice-wise for what you're really going to be doing. That's why the peak experience is so important because you're going to get to know how to like run a practice, which is like running a business, and it's not the same as taking case history notes on a patient in clinic, student clinic, and managing them that way. Like it's a whole other animal. So, yeah.
So school is really just the beginning of learning how to run a practice.
Yeah, the most important thing you can do in school is going to clubs and learning your technique and your learning your your business model, your business side of things, how you want to run things, or preparing to do that, and then getting your peak experience, and then like I said, it's a steep learning curve. You're gonna learn a lot. It's gonna be a lot different. It's a different world, and I wish school was more like driven, a little bit more vocational or practical in that sense, but don't we all? And that's why you take McCoy class eventually. Class was talking about being like 3.5 years of all this, but like I said, ticket to the big show. Now I'm in the big show, and I'm playing to win.
That's right, man, and that's exciting. I know it's motivating for me just to see, because you were only, I guess, three quarters ahead of me. It's super motivating to see you doing so well and to be enjoying it because this time around the McCoy quarters it gets a little downtrodden. Just easy to forget why it is that you're doing what you're doing. So I know it's exciting for me and it's easy for me to look at you guys and that are recently graduating and to kind of, all right, there is a light at the end of this tunnel and we're gonna get here. I'll keep on going. Let's see. It says, what exercises do you feel could best prepare our bodies to go from adjusting a few people a day to adjusting multitudes?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Help adjusting. You're never going to be prepared. Like it's gonna like. I mean, with peak and stuff, you're gonna get used to standing on your feet all day, so then the fatigue won't be setting in as much, and then adjusting. I mean, you're not. I don't think at that point going and adjusting from 5 people to 50 to 100 is going to physically affect your body that much. But yeah, that's the most I can contribute to
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. I mean, and when you're the man like yourself and built like a Viking, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Walking these shoes. That's
That's great. All right, last one here on this page. We've got this is a very similar question, so you may give the same answer. It says, "What was the most unexpected change going from school to out in practice?"
well, you're gonna have a huge time freedom, right? So you have all this time off that you're not in the office, and you have to be extremely time management, like on a schedule, because otherwise you'll just get lost, right? There's so many distractions, like, oh, I could just watch some TV programs, and you don't have homework deadlines anymore. So you could just essentially go home and leave it, but you got to really set some side time right for whatever it is you need to do, like work stuff, personal development. Obviously, you got to keep like working out and staying healthy, because practice is like a stress grind, just like school is. So you got to treat your body right. But there's that void when you get out, and you're like, I could see people easily falling into it and really wasting a lot of time and effort and getting started bad habits. So
Yeah, absolutely, and I can probably speak for most of club. Having a little more time sounds like a good thing, but it's something I've heard you and others now tell me that something that we need to kind of watch out for is that it looks really almost appetizing. I've put in 3.5 years, and now I have some free time. I'm going to do what I want to do, and there's definitely time to do that. But I would agree with what you're saying to definitely not fall into that trap of getting complacent. All right, going on. We got one more page of good questions here. This one starts out, says, "You did so much in school, but what is one thing you wished you had focused more on while in school?"
that's a tough one. Like I'm not to toot my own horn, but I think I did it pretty well rounded. I did some technique, I did some business, I did well in school. I stayed active, doing other stuff, but just make sure you're doing something really like business oriented, whether it's something like AMP or another one of these other speaking clubs. Like being like public speaking is really important. So being able to upkeep on that, I guess that could be something I would definitely have trained on even more, is like speaking to a large audience. Like I didn't take it for granted, but I think it's an art that you can't stop crafting. You keep fine tuning that one for a long time, and putting hours in earlier may have been more beneficial to me at this point.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd piggyback off that. I think one of the big things that's helps make you so successful so soon right out of the gate, and is going to be something that you really build upon, is how balanced you were. I think it's real easy to dive, 2 feet into school or 2 feet into club and neglect something in the long run. And I know, just kind of following you and your e-board, you guys did such a good job of really making sure that everything stayed balanced. And so I think that's something important that we can all learn from. The next question says, I will scratch that question. That's my question. I've already asked it. It says, "What did you feel most prepared for and least prepared for coming out of school?"
Well, I kind of indirectly answered this a few times. So most prepared for is diagnosis and passing part 4, and the least prepared for is running a business and like knowing how do you call an insurance company, and how do you set up the paperwork with the insurance. Like I did a Medicare app, that was pretty straightforward, but now I can even like get through to these like Blue Cross and Blue Shield and United and all these people, like, and we don't even take it insurance, we're out of network, but I still have to like register myself, and I'm like, how do you do these things? Like, you just don't know, and there's a lot to stuff that, I mean, that's the benefit of having the associateship thing, is like not going through this the first time myself. I kind of have a Dr. Cooper to lean on and give me direction of where to go. So yeah, that's life. We're already living it. You're already about to graduate. Everyone's about to graduate, so you just gotta do those extracurriculars. That's the biggest thing. Don't be tired on a Tuesday night and not go do something that's going to benefit you being a good doctor. Like, just keep grinding right now.
Right. That's good. All right. We're at the end of our 10 minutes of this session, so we'll close this one down and pick back up in just a second.